Welcome to everybody for this very, very special Doc Day. I had meant to have a look up to see how many Doc Days we have done, and I didn't do that because there were too many. I lost count. We have been doing these Doc Days since 2015. It's an opportunity for people to share the remarkable initiatives that they are doing in the community, and it is brought to you by the community DDoc. And DDoc, of course, has been around for a very, very long time. We do a lot of things, but really what we are is a platform for the diabetes community, for people within the diabetes community to come together, to work together, to network, to mentor each other and to share the remarkable, remarkable work that they're doing. Let's start by saying Happy Valentine's Day. It is Valentine's Day, and that's really why we're doing this Doc Day today, because we're wanting to feature Spare a Rose. Now, the Spare a Rose Save a Life campaign has been around for 11 years now. It's been around for a very, very long time. And so I'm thrilled that we're going to be starting in just 1 second with Tino, who's going to be talking about the work that he's doing, spearheading that campaign this year in 2024. I'm delighted to see that there are some wonderful hellos coming in from people from all around the world. Please do use the comment function there on Facebook to let us know where you are. Please ask questions along the way. We've got so many great speakers who are thrilled to be here, and I'm sure they'll be happy to answer questions that you might have about their work as well. All right, let's start now by bringing Tino on, please. I'm so excited to have a chat with Tino. Always, always. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time it is anywhere else in the world. How are you, Tino?
Great. Thank you for having me, Renza. It's
Fantastic.
almost mid. It's
Sorry,
almost
say that.
evening. It's almost evening. So yeah, 6 p.m.
Wonderful. I'm going to step away for a little moment because we want to hear you talk a little bit about Spare a Rose, and then we will answer some. We will have a bit of a chat about it afterwards.
Thank you so much. Right. So sparrows. I'm even so I'm humbled to be presenting or to be speaking about Sparrows, which is an initiative by the community and for the community since 2018. By then, I wasn't even an advocate, but I know I get diabetes since 2010. So, right, let me just jump straight to what this is all about. Okay, I'll move the slide. Okay, the first slide. So basically, what is this about? Sparrows is just an initiative that was started by the Diabetes Online community. So hence I say it's an initiative by the community and for the community. So it's also like one of the things that is usually run annually in February throughout. So in the global grassroots effort that raises money and awareness for insulin for life since 2022. It provides insulin, it provides supplies, education, and advocacy for the under-resourced communities because they struggle to get hold of insulin, to get access of insulin that they need. Hence, Sparrow's initiative started by the Diabetes Online community so that they can help people, to empower them, to give them the things that they need, not just insulin, but education as well. So thanks to the Diabetes Online community that I'm representing today. So each February leading up to Valentine's, today is Valentine's. Pardon my manners for not wishing to say Happy Valentine's to everybody who is watching tonight or whatever time it is, but the time wherever you are. So usually we encourage, people are encouraged, I've been encouraged, I've donated. So we are encouraged to donate to Spare a Rose and spread awareness on social media using the Spare a Rose hashtag. So thank you to everybody who has always been sharing wider and donating. That means a lot to people in the under-resourced communities or under-resourced countries. And what has been the impact? So previous campaigns raised the thousands of dollars. As you know, like if you can go now on the Spare Rose website, you can see that since it started in 2013, thousands and thousands of dollars have been raised through donations from the amazing diabetes community that have wanted to support people that are living with diabetes that ration insulin. There's a lot that will be happening. So thank you for making it easy for people living with diabetes in our communities. So donations, they make a tangible impact, like a difference in the lives of those living with diabetes, ensuring that access to lifelong or life-saving treatment and support is continued because diabetes is the lifelong. So basically, let me just speak a bit about Insulin for Life. What it is, it addresses the global challenge of diabetes with a significant majority residing in low to mid-income countries and as I say, like for Insulin for Life, they are providing these medications to people in under-resourced communities because, like, we know there are other initiatives. For example, I wouldn't want to talk about the other organizations that it has been supporting, but as we know, diabetes is lifelong. People continue to require these medications. Hence, Insulin for Life is there to step in to help people, providing these things to people that need it, that requires it, that may probably not be able to afford it. Hence, the Spare Rose initiative was started to support Insulin for Life with missions and everything. So many face challenging to afford or to access insulin, as I said, these essential supplies. So with Spare Rose, if people continue to donate like they've been doing, we can reduce these problems and these issues so that people can have a long life and they have a quality life like so many other people as they should. Because if you have diabetes, doesn't mean that you have to struggle. So if there are people like us, people in the diabetes community, we can help you, we can support you so that you can have everything that you need. So now, what is the call of action? What I'm calling everybody who is joining this call, who is watching this, is that please make a donation to Spheros to help save lives and make a real difference in the diabetes community because they depend on us. Insulin is lifelong. People require it each and every time. You cannot have it, and then the next moment you don't have it because you have to ration. So people have to continue to have it. So please visit the Sparrows website, www.sparrows.org, and make a donation today if you haven't done so already. And lastly, I think what are the ways? What are the other ways to get involved? If you don't have a donation, for example, you can share this with your network, and probably you'd find people that might also want to make a donation. So let's spread awareness by sharing Sparrows on social media, share the personal stories of experiences related to diabetes advocacy because they inspire people. When you share your own lived experience or circumstances or times when you didn't have access to insulin and what this could mean to people that do not have access to it because it means so much to those that are being saved. And lastly, I would say thank you for your incredible support and participation in this. I've seen that so many people have already made donations. Please, let's continue to do so up until the end of the month, November 29th. It's a leap year. So we will be continuing to run this. So support us and let's make it possible for people that are living with diabetes, that are looking up to us. And with all being said, I would rest my case and maybe Renzo would have questions from the diabetes community that are watching. Thank you.
Tino, thank you so, so much. Sparrow Rose runs as a volunteer program initiative from the community. As I said, this is the 11th year. I've been very involved, and this year I've taken a bit of a step back, and thankfully you have stepped up and you're doing such a remarkable job. What are you hearing from the community? I know that there are always people so excited when it comes to Sparrow Rose. Are you hearing that as well?
Well, there's so much excitement, and people are so keen to see this happening and running. They want to support it because they've been seeing it. As we
Yeah,
say, it's an initiative by the community for the community. So people are so happy to support.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I cannot see how many have donated, but I know there are thousands and thousands of donations. So we just need
yeah.
to continue doing so. Yeah.
I just saw Emma Doval's comment there that Valentine's Day is 31 years. It's her diversity. Happy diversity, Emma. So 31 years, and every year since Sparrow Rose started that she marks her diversity with a donation. That's so generous. Thank you so, so much. And we see that. I would encourage people in the community to, if you can, to please do make a donation. We know that that's not always possible, but you can still get behind it by sharing it with your networks. And so that's always really, really important. Tino, thank you so much. I'm going to talk Sparrow Rose just a little bit more, though. I want to just talk a little
Thank
bit
you,
about.
Renzo.
Thank you, Tino. Honestly, I refer to Tino as one of the hardest working advocates in diabetes. I say it all the time, and I genuinely believe it. He is such a force in our community, and for him to step up this year to also take the lead with Sparrow Rose, we are just so, so fortunate to have him doing that, but also to be such a brilliant, brilliant voice and force in that community. So the president of Insulin for Life is Alicia Jenkins, who is an endocrinologist based also in Melbourne. I really would have loved for her to come on this morning, but I'm not that mean to make her get up at 3 a.m. to do that. I get to do that, but I don't think it's fair that I dragged her up as well. However, we have a statement. So If you could please just, I'm going to read this, so please bear with me. But I think that this actually will also answer a number of questions, or at least address some of the concerns that people in the community have had about Sparrow Rose this year, but also in recent times as well. In particular about why I guess there hasn't sort of been a rallying using the Sparrow Rose initiative to support people affected in the Middle East. And I'm going to talk about that now as part of the statement, but there's a lot more in there. So please bear with me as I read this. And this is from Dr. Alicia Jenkins. So she says, thank you for your interest and support of the activities of the Insulin for Life Network, particularly including during this 2024 Sparrow Rose campaign. Insulin for Life has been active for over 25 years, providing in-date, unopened insulin and related diabetes supplies to people in disadvantaged regions in over 96 countries, leading research and advocacy, and assisting with locally led initiatives in diabetes screening and education. We also provide shipments to hospitals and clinics on an ongoing basis, and also in response to man-made and natural disasters. Insulin for Life provides aid irrespective of age, ethnicity, gender, religion, geography, or politics. Other great aid organisations all do valuable work in response to disasters, but this aid, which is large and ongoing, often takes 3 to 6 weeks to commence, which, as many of you will know, is far too long for someone with type 1 diabetes without insulin. And this is where Insulin for Life can be and has been very, very helpful. Typically, Insulin for Life is able to get supplies in within the first few days to a week of the disaster commencing. To do so, we are dependent on many partners, including individuals and organisations coming together as they usually do. As an example of positive outcomes in the Russia-Ukraine war, the Insulin for Life Network started sending aid in within the first 3 weeks of the war in 2022. Sorry, the first week of the war in 2022, and we are still sending in shipments in 2024. In the first 3 months, supplies sent and received and distributed in Ukraine included 100,000 mils of insulin. Just think of that. 100,000 insulin delivery systems, 400,000 blood glucose testing strips, 5,000 glucose and ketone meters, 1,000 HbA1c test kits, and 100,000 other diabetes supplies, including lancets, swabs, and hypo treatments. Okay, now at the opposite end of the spectrum. To date, we have been trying, but are not yet successful, getting aid into the Israel-Gaza conflict, specifically the Gaza region. We have had hundreds of kilos of shipments ready to go to identified partners in Palestine and to surrounding countries to partners. But unfortunately, the recipients were not able to receive the essential clearances from the recipient country's customs, without which supplies will be confiscated or returned. Insulin for Life has been in contact repeatedly with national and international diabetes organisations and human rights organisations seeking assistance. The UN Special Rapporteur for the Right to Health, Dr. Tlaleng Momafeng, and I apologise for not pronouncing that correctly, made a powerful statement in November 2023 regarding the Israel-Palestine conflict, calling out a cessation to the use of the practice of medicine as a political tool. Such activities were also used in the Ethiopian civil war. We welcome input from any individual or organisation who can help us get diabetes supplies to those in great need. In the meantime, we continue sending much needed supplies and advice to many other partner organisations. Insulin for Life has 8 collection and distribution nodes in the USA, Europe, UK, and Australia. We are predominantly a volunteer organisation dependent on the efforts of volunteers and the goodwill and donations of the international diabetes community and industry. Much support has come from the Diabetes Online community and the Sparrow Rose campaign. We also write grants, bake, host coffee breaks, run marathons, and seek donations from other partners. It does take a village, indeed a global village, to help people with diabetes in disadvantaged regions not only survive, but to thrive. Please help us continue to help these people by volunteering, sharing knowledge, or donating, such as to the Sparrow Rose campaign. As the US diabetes doctor Elliot Jocelyn said in 1928, and remains so true today, the effort of diabetes care is great, but the prize is also great, for the prize is life itself. Thank you. So that's a statement from Alicia. I'm not going to take any questions around this now, but because I haven't got time to read them all, and we really do want to move on. And we've got an incredible initiative from the community that is looking to support people who are unable to access insulin due to conflicts, and we're going to move to that now. But please do come to me at any point in time, and I can certainly pass that on to Alicia, and I know that she's happy to speak with people as well. Okay. Wonderful. I would really like to introduce Lithia. Can you jump on now and there you are.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, but you've been extraordinarily busy in the last 24 to 48 hours, haven't you?
Absolutely. I've been working hard on this initiative, coordinating everything, but I'm absolutely happy with what is happening and with the response from the community. All the advocates have been working hard and giving their best, working together in an atmosphere that has been fantastic. We saw that we are thriving when we work together, and that we can really achieve wonderful things when we do that.
Absolutely. Together we are stronger. It is, that's undoubtedly the truth. Now, I know that you've got some slides, so let's have a look at those, and you can talk your way through it. I'll stay here, and then I'll come back on the end, and we can talk about it. And you've got a special video to share as well. So let's go. Take it away.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Decoded for the opportunity to give visibility to the initiative, and a special mention to Natalie and Morgan. And I would also like to thank the whole working group for honoring me, allowing me to represent their voices here today. No insulin, as we know really well, represents death. We need insulin to survive. A lot of people living with type 1 diabetes and other types of diabetes cannot afford to go without it. What is our initiative? What is this insulin consensus statement? Well, it is an explicit positioning as the global diabetes community for the human rights of civilians during the living with diabetes in armed conflicts, present and future. Even if this statement was triggered by the situation in Ukraine and the Gaza Strip, it goes further. It represents any conflict in the world, because there are so many more going on, sadly. And why? And why are we doing this now? The global context, Renza, permacrisis, globalization, climate change, something that is affecting one country in this world today is affecting every one of us. And we have identified significant barriers in securing essential medical supplies and medication. We thought of insulin. It is an ethical imperative to speak and to bring the conversation to the to society in general, an ethical imperative, because we call ourselves advocates, diabetes advocates. What kind of diabetes advocates are we if we don't stand up and speak out when we see that there are being violations of human rights? We want to work from a human rights perspective. And we are guided by the principles of unity, diversity, and global consensus. We have been working together and thriving together, as we said earlier, and well, this is close to everybody's heart at this point. Diabetes is a priority requiring attention and action in these contexts of war or armed conflicts. Why? Because diabetes is a humanitarian crisis inside a humanitarian crisis. It is an invisible illness. This is taken for Doctors Without Borders article. It's an invisible illness, so there will be less diagnosis in these contexts. Travel can be dangerous. due to the conflicts. Insulin isn't always available. The big pharma prices don't help at all. They are an issue both for patients and organizations. There's obviously food insecurity, and we all know that food is part of diabetes treatment. Needles, syringes, and waste. They are hard to find and difficult to dispose of, and the hygiene conditions might not be the best. Daily temperatures. Well, this is connected to the climate change. However, we know that we can keep the insulin outside the fridge and have it working for a period of time. And there are other techniques such as putting it inside a clay pot that might work too. And the cycle of complications, what does this mean? People have to ration their insulin. They develop complications that cannot be attended. The situation gets worse, and it's a vicious cycle. Well, this part of the presentation wants to reflect that there are two causes that are connected to this one. One is that as civil society, as diabetes activists, and as people living with diabetes, we have to generate conversation on these issues, and people experiencing firsthand these armed conflicts must be part of the policies that have to be created. And we, people living with diabetes, people who have the lived experience expertise, must engage in all the initiatives regarding us. Once again, nothing about us without us. And to achieve everything, universal health care is a must. There are many, many reasons to sign that have been given by the community. I invite the people who are watching us to jump in and reflect their thoughts. But for example, Marianne said that restricting access to insulin and other life-saving medications to people in need is a war crime, and unrestricted access aid must be promptly ensured. Medicines should not be used as a weapon of mass distribution, and depriving insulin-dependent children and adults of insulin is a death sentence. Yes, absolutely, Natalie. Okay, well, Sebastian's words are really good. Beyond the practical considerations, there's a moral imperative to protect and prioritize the health of vulnerable populations, particularly individuals living with diabetes, especially during conflicts when they are most at risk. Okay, and here's a very, very, very good point by Belinda. She says that people who use insulin don't choose to use it, they need to use it. So in 2024, we shouldn't be needing petitions to fight for basic human rights. Yes, everybody should agree on this because it's so essential and so basic that it's still, shocking that we are having these discussions on things that are so essential. However, there's a lot of ignorance regarding diabetes, and it's important that we give visibility to the fact that insulin is not optional. It's not like an aspirin maybe that you can go without and then get better. In the case of insulin, it's very, very fast, the process of deteriorating and even dying. Well, finally, this is an invitation to join us. You can scan this QR code and sign our petition. We will be happy to count on you and use this initiative as a way to catalyze new projects and initiatives. And it's also an invitation to work together in the global diabetes community, to stop working in silos and start creating dynamic synergies. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Lucia, thank you so, so much. And really, I've only seen a tiny, tiny little bit of the work that's gone on. Really, once again, people with diabetes just leading the charge. I remember hearing somebody say, why wouldn't you back the diabetes community? The type 1 diabetes community in this instance has really pulled this all together just absolutely so dynamically. And thank you for leading that. And thank you to the people who have been working with you. It's remarkable. I think, this started, with DDoc Voices, and it's gone global. And I can't even think about the number of different campaigns that continue to do that. So thank you very, very much. Now, that's not it, though. There's something else that you want to show us, isn't there?
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. I think we might be ready to go with that if we just wait a minute. And Morgan, who's a whiz behind the scenes, has got something for us.
As diabetes advocates and members of the diabetes community worldwide, we want to share a shared concern.
In times of conflict, insulin is being restricted in aid, putting lives at risk.
Insulin serves as a vital lifeline for individuals living with type 1 diabetes.
And it's equally essential for many others managing different forms of diabetes that are insulin dependent.
The recent difficulties and restrictions on getting insulin as aid in conflict zones is very alarming. Without insulin, the health of people with diabetes can deteriorate very quickly, and the results can be deadly.
Insulin represents survival, and access to it safeguards the human rights to health and life.
Our unified stand. The statement of consensus stands as testament to our collective commitment to safeguarding the right to life.
Ensuring uninterrupted access to care and providing essential protection for individuals living with diabetes, particularly in conflict zones.
We urgently call upon all involved parties to recognise the humanitarian impact of obstructing insulin access.
Prioritizing the health and survival of those reliant on this life-saving medication.
It is imperative to understand that the absence of insulin equates to death for those in need.
Therefore, any barrier hindering insulin access for a region or population must be addressed promptly.
This is a call for collaboration. We extend an invitation for collaborative efforts to enhance and fortify this statement.
Together, our goal is to amplify our unified voice, ensuring that our advocacy for unrestricted access to insulin resonates on a global stage.
Furthermore, this request regarding insulin also needs to be applied to all other life-saving medications for people living with non-communicable diseases.
Please sign and share the insulin consensus petition so you can collaborate with us to help provide equitable access to insulin.
Lucia, wow, thank you so much. This will be available for people to share, won't it?
Yes, and there are many more efforts going on behind the scenes. We plan to print t-shirts with the QR code and take them to the congresses this year, ATTD, EASD, ISPAT, and we will be advocating together towards better outcomes and fostering, global understanding and union within our diabetes community. We share the same diabetes. Let's see what we have in common and advocate together from a human rights perspective.
Yeah, so thank you so much to you and to all of the DDoc voices who are collaborating to develop the consensus statement to begin with, and also the video. Thank you so, so much. I would ask people to please do what we do well in this community, and that is to lift each other up, to share this as broadly and as widely as you possibly can. where you can, ask people to sign as well. Also think about incorporating this all in part of February's Spare a Rose campaign as well. And do understand that when we know that Insulin for Life, who is a charity partner for Life for a Child, for Spare a Rose, is able to actually to start to deliver aid into people who need it, we will be looking at how the community can support that with donations as well. But really, what an absolutely remarkable initiative here. Thank you so much. I hope that you're going to have a little bit of a nap now, because I think you've been working 24 hours, 7 days a week. Well done to you and to everybody. I have probably read, I think, maybe a quarter of the messages that are flying back and forwards. But to everybody who's been involved, thank you so much. Anybody want to think that our DDoT voices can't move the world? Oh gosh, really? Don't try us. Thank you so much, Lucia. Really appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, really, this, I've been part of the diabetes community for a very long time, and every time I think, wow, gosh, I've seen it all, I really haven't, because people always step up. We always step up to support each other. And this is just another example of that, and what an incredible example. All right, I'd like to now introduce Ellena, who is joining us from Italy, who is going to talk about advocating for access. Buongiorno. What time is it?
Buongiorno.
Oh,
What time it is? Well, it's 5:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, buonasera
here.
then. Hope
So,
you're
yeah.
well, Ellena. Always wonderful to speak with you.
Oh,
You're talking
thank
about
you.
advocating for access.
Yep. Actually, we have been doing a lot here lately for advocating to people, either that they don't know anything about diabetes, or people that know, but they are scared to get to know a little bit more, or also people that have diabetes, maybe type 2 sometimes, and they are trying to hide it sometimes from themselves too, because they think it's too much, to get it, too much to accept it, too much to change their life. And also
there
to,
might be a bit of stigma in there as well.
oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just because they don't get too much that their life will change, but will not be destroyed, because they don't get messages, positive messages, and they don't get to understand how much they can change in their illness, changing some habits like, activity, sports, physical activity, that would help a lot, or also some dietary programs that could be some food that can change their way they eat and the way they they feel. So we decided we wanted to do something to reach far away, not only the people type 1 that we usually reach, but we wanted to include them too, because here we have a huge group of people that do sport. Usually they are type 1, of course. They achieve good. We have an Olympic karate champion here in my region, and we have people that went up to the Mount Everest this year. He's type 1, and people that do extraordinary things. And also normal people that live normal, and sometimes they hide from themselves and from people. And then we have a lot of institutions, very big, where probably a lot of people with diabetes work, and the institutions are not aware of what's the problem with the people working there. They don't get what to do, or what, for example, in police, as soon as they know you have type 1 or type 2, they take you out from, they take the gun out from you, and they take you out from the cars that go around in the city to, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry.
Active duty, I think,
Okay. And usually you get a lower the money you get is less than before because you are not so active anymore. So we have so many different people we wanted to reach. And in the meanwhile, we looked at the agenda for sustainable development, the 2030 in action program, and we noted that the role of sport is important. And it's the agenda talks about the role of sport, and it's that it's a universal language that unites people, culture, and genders. And in the objective number 3, which is the one on health and well-being, this objective seemed to make explicit reference to our event, the one we were thinking about, because it states that sporting activity improves well-being, health, and prevents diseases, and is an excellent tool for lifestyle education, active and healthy. So we decided that we wanted to reach out with an event that would put together diabetes, sport, good lifestyle principles on healthy food. And this was mostly for type 2, of course. But we wanted also to demonstrate that people type 1 with the right knowledge, with the right devices, and they can achieve important things like we rode to ride the bicycle for 3 days, right? The bicycle for 3 days, 100 kilometers each day. So it's not a very short path to ride 100
I'm just going to jump in. Sorry, I do need to we do need to keep moving along, but we've just got a slide that's come up here, and I see that this is from your activity. Is that correct?
Yeah, because we wanted to meet, this is the one on the left is the chief, whatever, of the Frecce Tricolori. You know what it is? The acrobatic pattuglia, the acrobatic on planes. Okay, so he joined us. He rode his bike for one whole day because we started from the airport, and we had an event at the airport, and we met the chief of the police, the major, a lot of people, to tell them that they have to keep diabetes high on their agenda, and they have to keep an eye open on the people that work for them and maybe have diabetes, no matter if it's type 1 or type 2, but it's not something that has to put a stigma on these people. They can do the same things if they have the right knowledge, the right devices, the right medicines, and then they can do really a lot. And this is the chief of the police, the one on top on the right, that tested his blood to see the glycemic level. And then we had the police. This is the one in the bottom right, probably is the bomb squad, because we involved also the bomb squad that explained to people how not to make a bomb explode. And so this was like a big event that had a lot in it, and a lot of people were called to come and see because they were curious to understand a lot of things.
Ellena, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And I know that there is so much more, and perhaps people can reach out to you if they'd like to learn more.
Whoever wants to do something similar, I can share, because we also had walks for the families that didn't want to ride the bike, and and naturalistic guides and historical guides and things like that.
Fantastic.
So
that's something for everyone. Amazing. I do love that, making sure that there is something for everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And I do always love initiatives that are reaching, into workforces and into communities that need to know more about diabetes. So well done to you, and well done doing that.
Thank you for all you do.
Oh, Thanks for being here today. And thanks for being such an important part of DDoC. You really are truly remarkable, as is everybody who's speaking today. Thanks,
And
Ellena.
happy Valentine's Day to my DDoC community, which I love, and happy Valentine's Day to all of you.
Valentine's Day. Very good. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to a new initiative right now. But before we do that, I would just like to remind everybody that we are aligned today with the Spare a Rose initiative. If you are able to donate, please do so. sparearose.org. It's super easy. Your donation goes directly to Insulin for Life, so you can know that is where it is going directly. Spare a Rose doesn't take a cut or doesn't in any way do anything. It goes straight to Insulin for Life for them to do the incredible work that they are doing. Now, when we're talking about amazing initiatives in the community addressing a real need, we're going to talk about Decoded, and I hope that you all already know about this. But if not, we've got Jazz and Azra who are jumping on any minute. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know, whatever time it is. It's quite late actually where you guys are too, actually, isn't it? It's evening. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for Decoded. Thank you for making sense of diabetes research. Jazz, I think I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us what this is, please?
Thank you, Renza. And of course, lovely to be here. Amazing to see all the work that's happening. So I think when we talk about access, we talk a lot about insulin and education, which is absolutely fundamental. But within that spectrum, I think also comes the need of access to understand diabetes research. And I think for a lot of people living with diabetes, like myself, like both of you on the screen, I think this sort of idea sparked when the Vertex trial came out, and there was a lot of clickbait all over. There was a lot of questions, there was a lot of curiosity, but there was also a lot of misunderstanding. So the community kept reaching out to us, especially in India, saying that we love the research, we love what's happening, but we just don't understand it. And I think Decoded was born in that effort of trying to make sense of diabetes research for people living with the condition and people who are not from medical backgrounds. And I think what the beauty of Decoded, what we've tried to do, and Renza is also a part of the lived experience panel at Decoded, the idea is to have a collaboration. And the people that are decoding these articles are people with lived experience. And then it goes to academics and actual researchers for that final fact check, because we don't want any sort of scientific integrity getting compromised. And the result is these sort of decoded articles that look not like research papers, because that can be very boring for us, but you can make sense of your condition. You can use that to advocate for your condition and spread the word further on.
You know what I love about it? A couple of things. One, it doesn't dumb down research, though, to a diabetes has been cured in mice, 5 years' time, wait for your cure.
Exactly.
I love that all the information is there in a really accessible way. And then if you want to do a deep dive, people are sort of guided to do that as well. This is just so amazing. And Azra, have you got some slides? I think that, are we going to show some slides that you're going to talk to? Wonderful.
That's our colors. It's called Diabetes Research Made Accessible. And accessible to who? For those of us who are living with one. And it is just a little question that Jazz gets these brain waves, and she came up with this thing. Let's make all of these easier to understand. And she found the nerd in the group, which turned out to be me. And then we had a whole team coming in and working with us to actually decode, to understand the methodology, but not make it boring. Making it easier to bridge the gap of the unfamiliar and the doctor figure, the scientist in the white coat, the lab coat. We wanted to make them more understandable and bringing all that science accessible, friendly, easy to manage, and easy to understand. So there was 3 goals. It was to describe the research that is coming up or that has been already done, to debunk the myths, because there are unfortunately still quite a few that are lurking in the background, and to decide what is suitable for me. As an example, that is the concept study, which is fantastic. It changed the lives for so many pregnant ladies and the use of CGM. But to understand and to go through this was not something I wanted to do on a daily basis for every little thing I wanted to find out. So we went and made it a lot more easier to look at. We have that little happy baby. We have the mom who wants to improve her time in range. We've got the visuals. We've got the little words. And you can always click actually on the website and it'll take you to the meaning of these vocabulary that is hard to understand. And the basic nuggets from that research is all in here. And it's these little tiny little snapshots that tell you the essence of that research. Once it's there, the T1D who's living with the condition can go to their doctor and say, I've heard about this, I've read about this, this is the supporting evidence, can you help me access? They can advocate for themselves. We ask people in a whole feedback that, what did you think Decoded has done? And do you think we've achieved these goals? And we got a beautiful feedback. It says, how do you think the platform like Decoded helps diabetes management directly or indirectly? How did it help you? And people said, empowered us, made us bolder, made us less afraid to ask questions. Directly, it gave me the language that I can ask the right things when I go to my doctor's appointment. Directly, it also helps with explaining the condition to other people and to raise awareness and to be less of a mystifying thing that diabetes is something that just happens. No, there are very simple scientific explanations. We asked, is Decoded meeting your expectations? And 87.5% yes, it is. And this 12.5 actually said there's not enough on the website. I want more. And that is what we are striving for right now. Decoded was launched November. So we've had 3 months, 4 months, and now we are striving to put in more and more articles as we go along. It was imperative to keep the integrity of the science of the research, so we didn't want to rush it. And believe me, in the next 2-3 months, you're going to see a lot more coming up there. The highlight of the session about when we asked the people, and a lot of Decoded DDoc voices were there in that session, and they said, it helped me with the language to explain my own condition better. It gave me information to what is out there that I can advocate for in my country, even if it's not available today. I can ask, please, is it possible to access that? Help beat misinformation. The debunking is so, so important. Type 1, type 2 are 2 different conditions, like somebody else had earlier said. We are there to help you understand. This is what the website has currently. It has 5 articles. And by the end of the month, you should see quite a few more coming in. And every month, the goal is to put 2 more. And of course, as I have said in our last DDoc get together, we are always looking for volunteers to come and say, I want to do an article, and we will give you the credit. It is all yours. Your name, your everything will be available on the website. It is a free website. So obviously volunteers are always welcome. And that is the website, www.decodeddiabetes.com. And Diabesties is the vehicle that has supported us. And Jazz's little baby comes, she gets these ideas. I honestly don't know when she gets them, but it's usually in the middle of the night, I'm pretty sure. And we are open to any questions you might have.
Look, that's such the right way to talk about Jazz, who's now on screen. So, I feel like we're talking about her like in plain sight, but it's true. These ideas, and then they just kind of explode. But the amazing thing about them is that they then become reality. And, it's wonderful. This is such an important initiative. I love this. So there's Bastian saying, great to see you, such an important and wonderful initiative. And this comment from Dawn, it's so important to have validated information available for everyone to read in an understandable format. We should not be hiding away research that is relevant to us from us. It's one of the reasons, I guess, that, the DDoc Voice of Scholarship program exists is so that we can get people with diabetes into conferences so that they can hear the research and take it back to their community. But to have this in such an accessible way, that in such a shareable way, that also looks really beautiful, makes you want to read it, is so important. What's the response been from the community, Jazz?
It's been fabulous, and I've been actually really surprised about it. And I think one sort of thing that really made it click was when somebody on Twitter tagged you and me, Renza. There was a
Yeah.
new research JDRF come out, and the tag was, "Hey, this is awesome. Can you decode this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "It works. It totally works." So if
Exactly.
that is happening, that means we're doing something right.
Just to let
Absolutely.
you know, that particular research is done and it's coming up.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It is published.
And I think,
Fantastic.
the other thing that is beautiful is that the clinicians and the academics are not shutting this away. And I think that
Yes.
is fabulous, because for them, it opens up a whole new target audience. So it's
Right.
actually been a true piece of collaboration. So I'm very, very pleased with it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. I cannot tell you how many presentations I've done to researchers saying, please, please, please make sure that you include people with diabetes when you're talking about all of it from the very beginning of your research, but also then when you're talking about dissemination of the information once it's ready to go, to make sure that people understand it, because it gets people involved in research. It makes people want to put up their hands to be part of it. So thank you so, so much. Everybody, please do go and have a look at Decoded Diabetes to learn more about it. Share it with your networks. Take it to your healthcare professionals and show them as well, so they can see what it's about, and then they can share it with other people with diabetes that they see. That's what this community does so well, is, gets the word out. But well done to you all for doing this. It's absolutely amazing. Thanks so much for coming on today and talking about it.
Thank you so much. A pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
See you all soon. Honestly, just an amazing, amazing initiative. Please do go check it out if you haven't, and do share it. I do know that every time a new article does come out, I see it all over social media, which is so wonderful. Again, this diabetes community lifting each other up and supporting each other, by people with diabetes, for people with diabetes. That's how we do it here. Okay, I get to bring Nikki on next. I have to talk about language at every single diabetes event that I do anywhere in the world. It's like, some unwritten law. And today I'm not talking about it so much as the wonderful Nikki is. She's been doing some incredible work, or starting some incredible work, that I'm so excited about. Good day to you, Nikki. I don't know what time it is where you are, but hello.
Hello.
How are you? Nikki and I have got matching cups, which we think is pretty exciting. But hey, Nikki, talk to me about what it is that you're doing in the Language Matters movement. This is something new.
So I'm quite focused generally in the work that I do on creating a better conversation around pregnancy when you've got diabetes along for the ride. And I kind of, a little bit like Jazz actually, one day just had this idea, there's some language that's just a little bit, maybe we could offer some alternatives there throughout my own experiences. 3 pregnancies, 3 babies. And I asked for your blessing
to
go ahead with this. And I'm creating a Language Matters diabetes and pregnancy document with the help of some incredible people, support from incredible people within the UK, that I hope has the ability to be a foundation to kind of replicate everywhere. Because I think the experience of pregnancy and diabetes, it's not unique per country. Overall, we all face the same sort of basic challenges, and then there are additional things thrown in. So that's where we're at. We're right at the beginning, which is a really exciting place to be. I'm trying to get thoughts that I've had over the last sort of 5.5 years in some kind of order. And it's really great. And the response so far from people is definitely really positive.
Yeah, I think the Language Matters movement has thrived because it's been something that people with diabetes really understand that the way we communicate to people with diabetes and about diabetes is really, really important. We've got an image problem often around diabetes, and how can we address that? And we can address that by better communication, by talking about diabetes in an empowering way, not blaming, not shaming, not stigmatizing. It's all very, very connected. But pregnancy certainly does add an extra level of everything, really. It makes things just so much more fun. And with that comes the language, the way people speak about it.
Tensely vulnerable time as well, whether or not you've got diabetes, and whether or not everything's going really well.
Yeah.
When you do have diabetes, you are also battling stigma.
Yeah.
And I really believe that one of the ways that we can reduce stigma, and therefore anxiety and everything else that comes with that, is through language. I think that is a one of the elements that is so vital. I can remember in my first pregnancy, my booking in appointment, the midwife said, so you'll have to have the baby on the delivery suite and you'll probably have a C-section. And that's like the first myth. And you'll have a C-section because you'll have a huge baby. And, it's all of these things that just aren't true. They're possibilities for everyone, whether there's diabetes or not. But we need to be a lot more mindful about how we present those risks or possibilities, as I would rather there may be called, to women who are experiencing pregnancy. And because the fear becomes so huge, and I think it runs the risk of turning into diabetes distress.
Absolutely. It's such a vulnerable time. I think you're right. I remember my baby is now 19, so this is a while ago, but the book that I read, I think I could probably have recited it. It was a book by an Australian writer called Kaz Cook called Up the Duff. It's still there are newer public versions of it, new editions of it, and it's such a great book. But she actually talks about this. She talks about the language that's used at different stages of pregnancy and that's without diabetes. So then we add the diabetes stuff in there, and we're told about if your blood sugars are not this, and if they go above this, you're going to be damaging your baby's elbow growth or whatever it is. And it's really confronting, isn't it? It's really, really confronting.
It's huge. And I mean, the goal, obviously, with any pregnancy is to keep yourself healthy and well physically and emotionally, because that will have an impact on the baby. And when you're confronted with certain words, certain phrases, certain looks, or information is presented in a way that makes it, you'll perceive that as a foregone conclusion, basically. You have a PG of 7.5 and your baby's head will be huge. You'll experience shoulder dystocia. And they're not sandwiched with the positive aspects of, actually, we're really focused on time and range, and you're right there and you're doing really well. And don't forget that any of the possibilities that you might face with pregnancy would be possibilities for someone who doesn't have diabetes.
Of course.
And of course, it's never as linear as that, is it? So that's why I think this work and the way we're kind of going about things is really important.
Let's talk about that in a minute, because I just want to read some comments that are coming through, because clearly this is really resonating. So Helga says, totally agree, Nikki. This is so close to home, being first diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Language matters so much when you're diagnosed, when you're pregnant. You're taking me back so much. This really great comment from Susanna. You're so right, Nikki. So much fear and so little help when facing pregnancies. And Marianne, this one's such an important and unfortunately sometimes lonely, guilt-filled time. That's so, so true. It doesn't need misinformed language that adds to it whatsoever when we have diabetes. This is so, so true. And I think that, addressing this in a way that is so community focused, of course, is important. So let's talk about what are you doing? What's next? What are you calling for?
We are hoping to build a group of core authors for this document, but beyond that, so I'm kind of putting a shout out to the community. UK, global community, whether you are trying for pregnancy, whether you've experienced pregnancy, whether you are pregnant, what we'd really, really love to do is to offer you all a safe space to share your experiences of language. Now, we're not just looking for poor language that's been used, because what's the point in calling out poor language if we're not going to offer a really great alternative?
Wonderful.
So, have you been to an antenatal class where someone has talked about your diabetes in a way that's made you go, oh my God, I love that? Tell us about it. We want to hear about it. We want to include it in the document, and with it, so we're gathering. This is what we're gathering. We want to make sure that we're offering a really comprehensive, lived experience-based document.
Wonderful.
That, we really hope does justice to every single voice of everyone who's been or become a parent within this community.
Fantastic. As ever, and I do love the way that you've put out this call. People are more than welcome to come and connect with you. Absolutely. So thank you so much for this work. I'm so excited to see. Oh, we've got a wonderful slide here this is really great, because I was going to say, how can people get in touch with you? Well, this is how they can get in touch with you. This is wonderful. So if everybody would like to see this, but on Twitter, sorry, I still call it Twitter, at Pregnancy LMD, and there's an email there, and also on Instagram. And how amazing is this, coming right from somebody with diabetes who has experienced how language impacts pregnancy and wanting to do something about it. Nikki, I can't imagine anybody better to do this. We've already got people saying, me, please, I want to be involved. And we've got a comment here from Hera. Language plays an important part in any medical condition because language is the path leading to hearts and minds. It's almost like language matters. I don't know. Who knew? Nikki, thank you so much. Keep us posted. We're looking forward to you coming back and giving us progress updates and seeing where we're going. Sorry, that sounds like I'm going to be holding you to account. I know I don't need to do that because I can already see
please do, because life is busy.
Very, very good. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, good. Oh, look, honestly, every time we start to think that, we've done Language Matters, something else pops up, because there is always more to do there. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Nikki. All right, I am so excited I get to bring Nupur on next, who's going to be talking about something super important. Good. Hello, Nupur. How are you?
Hi, Renza. How are you?
I'm well. It's always so lovely to chat with you. How are you going?
Very well. I admire you showing up at 3 a.m. and all times of the day and night.
Look, I'm shambolic. At least I've got an excuse. I'm shambolic all the time, but at least I've got an excuse at 3 a.m. All right, we're talking about diabetes on a budget, and this is such an important topic. And I know that you've got some slides, so I'm going to go hide away, and I'm really looking forward to this, and then we'll have a chat at the end.
Thank you, Renza. All right. So I'll be quick. Thank you, Renza, and the DDoc team for having me here today. I've loved listening to all our powerful advocates, that came and shared everything that they're doing. My name is Nupur. I live in India. I've had type 1 diabetes since the past 28 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about living with diabetes on a budget. And over the next 5 minutes, I'm going to take on the impossible task of covering 3 things. 1, access and financial hardship. 2, community support. And 3, how to advocate for policy change. All right, I'm just figuring out how to go next on the slides. All right, and I'm successful. Okay, so what you see on the screen now are ways to do diabetes on a budget. And if you know more ways, I'm happy to hear from you in the comments. To downsize, you can move from pump to MDI to pens or syringes, choose less expensive strips, use generic insulin versus branded insulin, use less expensive CGMs. Also, quick disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional and this is no medical advice. This is just my personal experience and the anecdotal experience of people in our community. So an interesting thing, we ran a poll in our community and 49% reported an average monthly expenditure of 10,000 rupees. Now that's 10,000 Indian rupees, and I understand we're all, we've all got different currencies, and this is hard to relate to. But just for context, the average monthly salary in India, is about 20,000 or 21,000 rupees. So that's half the salary that could potentially go into your monthly diabetes budget, and I think that's absolutely wild. Um, all right, so moving on. I've used a pump, for a few years, and you can see it on me in that photograph there. We're doing this fun run in my city from a few years ago. Um, for the most part of having type 1 diabetes, I've been using syringes. And now, since a few years, I've been using syringes as well. And I've been asked a few times, and I hope earnestly that I hope one can be a diabetes advocate using syringes. And I'm happy to report that you absolutely can. You could be using syringes, pens, pumps, closed loop, you name it. And you could still be, a diabetes advocate. So moving on to a little bit about generic and biosimilar insulin. Um, Making diabetes management affordable is a critical step that governments and other stakeholders can take towards achieving universal health coverage to make sure that no one has to suffer financial hardships for just having a medical condition. Like someone said earlier, we don't choose to have diabetes, right? We don't choose to use insulin. It's just something that happens to us, and particularly for chronic conditions like various types of diabetes that require long term and lifelong care. Generic medicines are about 50 to 90% cheaper than branded insulins, and that's their biggest USP, especially in a price sensitive market like India and several other countries where most of our expenditure is out of pocket for healthcare. You can see here a quick difference between generic and biosimilar insulin. All right, so on the left side of the screen is insulin glargine, which is basal insulin, generic basal insulin, and we've all obviously heard of the brand called Lantus and several other brands. So this is the generic version. On the right is the government's Jan Aushadhi Kendra. So here in India, there's a public system of pharmacies that dispense generic medication, including insulin, medication for type 2 diabetes, such as sitagliptin, vitagliptin, a bunch of other meds, metformin, glucometers, and multiple other things. So the goal here that the government has had is that we want to provide quality medicines at affordable prices to the masses. So currently, there is no universal health coverage in India. For everything we pay out of pocket. We pay out of pocket for insulin. We pay out of pocket for CGMs, for blood test strips. Absolutely everything. In certain cases, people below the poverty line are helped, but the insulins that may be available for them in those cases might be old school, regular insulin, and NPH insulin. And we all know, issues that can occur with those. Talking about CGMs, here in India, we've got two types of CGMs or FGMs. The Libre, which is priced at about $60, similar to anywhere in the world, 60 USD. And that's on the left side. And then on the right side, you see the Libre Pro, which is about half the price of the Libre. So, people in the diabetes community are going to find hacks, and I've seen our friends from various parts of the world sharing hacks for Dexcom or for different tech that's available in their countries. So So this is another sort of workaround that people use to be able to save costs. Okay, so on the screen right now is a comment that is a heartbreaking comment that somebody shared on a discussion we had some time ago about healthcare costs. And I just want to say, apart from the financial burden of living with diabetes, there's also a real mental health burden. I'm going to read out the comment in case it's not very legible. And the person says, my family is not able to expense these high prices, around 4,000 rupees a month for insulin strips, etc. They always ask me when the insulin will end, and I'm a student, I'm not working, it puts a burden on my family, I feel like I'm a burden on them. I think this is completely unacceptable, and healthcare should be available and accessible to everyone, irrespective of where they live. And we've seen our friends and advocates during the course of Doc Day Today talk about this as well. So just wanted to reiterate that. Also, community and knowledge sharing that occurs, platforms like DDoc, our own local communities, are hubs for people to exchange information, to share hacks, and to lean on each other. They are the peer support systems that really help people living with various types of diabetes to manage their health effectively. All right, I'm almost at the end of my presentation, and a little thought that I want to leave you with. We all know Banting said, insulin belongs to the world, it doesn't belong to me. And we know how that's going, right? As people living with various types of diabetes, we must advocate for policy changes at our country level that makes healthcare more affordable, more accessible, and inclusive for everyone. Thank you for listening to me, and I'm happy to take any questions, and I hope I kept time.
Oh, Nipur, wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for addressing this topic that is so relevant and so important, but sort of sometimes gets swept under the carpet a little bit. So thank you so much for doing so. And I know that earlier on in the chat, in the comments there, Snehal shared a link to a blog on the Blue Circle Foundation site. There it is. Look at that. Honestly, I just will say, and I'm going to give, the DDoc team behind the scenes a thank you later, but Morgan is in my brain, I swear. She knows what I'm going to say and what I'm doing before I even say it. So that's the reason that that's just popped up there. So please go and have a read of that. I am wondering though, just, how much, people are coming to you and talking about this. Are people comfortable doing that? I know that, often people might perhaps not feel comfortable talking about it, but how are you finding your community is when you're having discussions around this?
Yeah, thanks, Renza. I think that's really important, because it's not something that people talk about very openly and comfortably. No one wants to. It takes a lot to be vulnerable, and it takes a lot to be to say that, hey, I can't afford a certain thing, and everyone is going around talking about CGMs, but I can't afford 4 strips a day. That is also the reality in a lot of situations. So, but we increasingly have been noticing that conversations that we've been fostering, either one-on-one or in groups, people are getting more comfortable now, and they are sharing. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for giving people space to have the difficult conversations. I think that that's one of the things that, we see so frequently in our community, is those topics that have been a bit taboo, or they're a bit difficult for people to talk about. When, our community, people with diabetes, start to step up and start to talk about it, that's something that, it starts to become normalized, I guess. We do have a question. Let's answer this from Sebastian. What have been your most successful ways to advocate in India to improve access to medicines?
Thanks for your question, Sebastian. So, in India, health is a state subject, and each state sort of does this differently. There are a couple of states that have started to give out free insulin, including analog insulin. So I think that's an example that we're using with our local policymakers. We've been in touch with the chief minister of our state to sort of lobby for this to happen, beginning with our state and then other states as well. So this is an ongoing challenge, and I think we've got a long road ahead.
Yeah, but doing a remarkable job. Thank you so much. As I said, it's always just such a delight to speak with you, Nipur. Go well, continue to do the amazing work that you're doing. And I know that we're always so thrilled to have either you or somebody from the Blue Circle Foundation speaking. You are a very, very important friend of DDoC, and we're thrilled that we are able to, to hear from you as often as we do. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Renza, for the platform. Thanks.
Anytime. Oh my goodness. Okay, I am now going to introduce Emanuela. I'm really hoping that we've got some stable. I know that we've been having some connection issues now, but Emanuela, hopefully we can have a chat now about your important work. Let's just hold tight. Hi there.
Hi.
So good to see you. I know there's a little bit of a delay. I'm going to jump straight off and we'll let you show your slides, and hopefully that will all work. But you're going to be talking about the Diabetes Youth Care Annual Camp. Thank you so much.
Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Emanuela Selassie Homenu, General Secretary of Diabetes Youth Care, and I will be talking about our annual camp. And Diabetes Youth Care is basically a social group, an NGO, which began in 2012 for young people living with diabetes in Ghana. It serves to bridge the gap between children, adolescents, and adults living with diabetes, as well as the medical personnel. What this means is that currently we have over 270 members, and we provide psychosocial support through monthly support meetings in the various regions in Ghana. And then we do have the annual camp, which would be the focus of today's talk and all. So what this means is we actively engage in awareness campaigns and educate individuals, both diabetics and non-diabetics, in the community setting, as well as schools and all that. So here's a little history about the diabetes camp and how it started. So it started in 2016. Yeah, it started in 2016, and currently we've had about over 6 camps so far. So what this means is that in 2016, every year has a theme that we work with. And in 2016, we had diabetes and the eye. 2017, diabetes and mental health. 2018, we had Camp Pamoja and Camp. 2019, we had Camp Aya, which we partnered SNF, Sonia Nabeta Foundation for. But unfortunately, in 2020 and 2021, we did not have camps because of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, in 2022 and 2023, we actually did go back and we had 2 successful camps. So in 2022, we were 10 years, and it was the theme for our camp, which was Inspired to Give Back. So 10 years Inspired to Give Back. And then 2023 was Camp Tua, which means growing with our knowledge. So our purpose is, sorry, my slide is delaying a bit. Okay, great. So our purpose is that the camp serves to give a place of meaning and purpose for type 1 diabetics all over Ghana to be able to share their experiences and learn about diabetes management and also have fun. So it serves as an educational front, and then also a place where individuals living with diabetes can feel that they do belong, and then they have a place where they are actually cared for and loved for. Attendance is usually over 150 warriors in 9 different regions in Ghana attending. We also have non-medical volunteers who actually volunteer during these camping activities, and we do have medical caregivers too, so doctors, nurses, and then healthcare professionals from all over Ghana do actually volunteer during these camps to help aid and all. We sometimes have parents and siblings also attending these camps to actually be able to learn and then know more about diabetes and be able to have like accurate information on how to cater for their fellow warriors. So the activities in camps usually includes diabetes management education, which is dubbed the ABCs with diabetes, utilizing infographics for easy comprehension. So we have teams. When you come for camps, we are divided into various teams, and each team has an educational session where we do also have presentation based on the topic or the theme for that particular year and camp. We also have fun activities like talent shows and games like face painting, and then host other competition dependent on the year and the year and then the kind of games the warriors are interested in playing. So funding is basically through private individuals. So what we do is that every year we actually solicit for funding but via private individuals, and we do have our board members who actively contribute to the camp as well. And then since camp is free for all, whether you're a volunteer or or a warrior, camp is free and you don't pay anything for it. So it means that we actually do have to get funding from other sources. So any private individual who wants to give or wants to donate towards funding the camp is highly welcome to do so. So these are a couple of pictures from the previous camps we've had so far. So here you can see Camp Chia, which was last year, December 2023. And then you can see Camp Nyaneba, which was in October 2022. And these are pictures of the volunteers we do have at camp. So you can see pictures of our medical volunteer or the medical team who usually wear the red shirts. And then you also have the non-medical team, the volunteers who actually also present themselves as well. Then we have the diabetes youth care executives, so individuals who actually have taken up roles within the association or within the group and have actually volunteered their time and their resources to ensure that we have active participation and we are able to have a successful project whenever we do. You can also see the staff. They're actually an integral role in the organization of diabetes youth care, and then all the projects we have are basically due to the hard work of the diabetes youth care diabetes youth care staff and all. So the slides are pictures of some of the camp's activities that we've had. So you can see some pictures of painting and some individuals who have actually had paints on their face and all that. So these are just fun activities that we have. These are pictures of some of the teams that are during camp. So as I said earlier, during camp, we actually divide the warriors into groups, which are teams. And based on the year and the team, we actually get different team names for it. So these are 2023 teams. And then you can see that the team names are basically names of trees because the theme was basically about the baobab tree, which was growing with knowledge. And yeah, these are still pictures of camps. And these are also still pictures from camp and then the various activities that we engage in. And I think this is actually the last slide, and these are also pictures from camp. So I am done. Yeah.
Amazing. Emanuela, thank you so much. What an incredible presentation. I'm reading some of the comments and from people who have been to camps clearly can talk about just how life-changing they are. And there's such an important initiative. So thank you so much. I'm just reading some of them here. We have your efforts are wonderful in integrating the diabetes community and sharing experiences. I know that, people who go to camps, they really do form lifelong, friendships and they become the basis of peer support networks. Is that something that you think you'll see too?
Yes, actually. So we are open to accepting as many people as possible. So even if you are unable to come physically, there are other ways you can contribute to come and make a substantial impact, because we do actually have avenues where we try to provide warriors with essential diabetes medications and then education. So however you can help contribute that via financial funding or any other initiative you think would be very helpful, we are actually welcoming on all that. And then before that, I'd also say that you could contact us via IG, so Instagram on _Ghana. On Facebook, we are Diabetes Youth Care. And you can also contact us via phone. So +233 50 397 49. Sorry, let me start. +233 50 397 9411. So yes, we are open to any sort of contribution you'd have for us.
Fantastic. We might get all those details from you and we can add them then in the comments later on. But you've got a little bit of a cheer squad here. Eunice says, great initiative, Ella. Proud to see how you have grown through this. Thank you so much for speaking and sharing with us today. I really, really appreciate it. This is such an important initiative. Absolutely thrilled that you've been able to share it with the broader community.
Thank you too for giving me the opportunity to be able to share this.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you so much. Okay, we're coming to the pointy end of our doc day today. We have a final speaker. So I'd like to bring Alyssa on. Alyssa, there you are. Hello. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very, very well, and I'm very excited to hear you talking about Together Type 1.
Yes, excited to talk about it.
Yeah. Let's start. Tell me all about it.
Well, I have a wee presentation, but essentially it's Diabetes UK's youth project.
Fantastic. I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to jump off and we're going to hear all about it now.
No worries. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about Together Type 1, which is Diabetes UK's youth project. It's a 5-year project and it's based in the whole of the UK. How do you move the slide? Sorry. So the overview is basically for young people aged 11 to 25, and it's split into kind of 2 parts. You've got a program for young people aged 11 to 25 to take part and participate, and you've also got young leaders, which is what I am, aged 16 to 25, who are kind of leading on the activities. And the aim of the program, or the community, is to tackle feelings of isolation and loneliness, because as I'm sure you're aware, living with type 1 diabetes is an extremely isolating experience, and it can be extremely hard without peer support. And so every single area of the UK have different activities going on based on what their specific community needs. So I'm based in Scotland, so Scotland have different activities from, for example, London and Wales. And some of the core aims of the project are to increase knowledge and confidence. Sometimes you don't get the information you need from your healthcare professionals, what tech, and I'm sure everyone else can agree that I've learned more from speaking with my peers about diabetes than I ever have from the clinic. And so it's just developing these strong peer support networks to increase the confidence. And the last one is to empower young people. Young people have to go out in the world, they have to go to healthcare, and sometimes they have to advocate for themselves to make sure that they have the adequate care they need. And so this is giving young people the skills to do this in a fun way, of course. So obviously I'm based in Scotland, and Scotland have 3 main activities going on, which is, the first one is the wellbeing programme, and this was developed with a youth worker and a health psychologist, and it's just looking at the overall well-being. How do we make sure that the well-being of young people with type 1 diabetes is there? And this is a programme that I'm actually involved with, and so one of the things they've created is Helping Hands for Health, and that's just, there's counselling, health coaching and lots of other stuff. So this program is being developed, and we're in the trial stages of it now, but it's an extremely exciting thing. It's going to be framed slightly differently, not well-being, just so that young people engage. There's also buddying going up, so young people and young leaders will get linked up for some peer support, and some of the young leaders have set up some local groups in their areas, and we're going to be developing this program with more activities going on as the years go by. As I said, my involvement is in the wellbeing programme, so I opted out of the buddying and the group because I have other things going on, and that's the great thing about being a young leader, is you get to kind of pick and choose what activities you get involved in, what is best for you and your community. But I've been involved in the youth project for a few years, so we've done stuff like events in the community, we've created training for healthcare professionals, so these are the things that you could potentially do in the Together Type 1 project, but it's led by young leaders, so the initiatives will pop up as the young leaders think about it. So the next steps are, we just want to get more young people involved in the project. We want to make sure that as many young people living with type 1 diabetes in the UK can benefit from this peer support community as possible. I know how important peer support has been in my diabetes journey, and I want as many people to access it as possible. Building inclusion in the programme, and that's extremely important, and one of the things we are focusing on in Scotland is trying to ensure people who live in rural communities can access it, because Scotland is quite a rural country. And we're also creating digibags for people who are newly diagnosed with diabetes, just with some extra resources to make sure that that transition from not being diabetic to diabetic is smoother and they have more support. So that was a very quick fire roundup of what Together Type 1 is, because I'm aware we don't have much time. So here are the details to get in touch. If you live in the UK or you know someone who wants to get involved, here's the emails for the main team and Diabetes UK, but I've also included Diabetes Scotland's contact details, so you can get in touch with Mark or Caitlin, the youth coordinator or the youth worker in Scotland, if you want to get involved, either as a young person, or you have someone in mind, or you want to become a young leader, or you have ideas for activities you want to see. Do get in touch, because this is kind of a very fluid project or community, and I'm extremely excited to see where it goes.
Alyssa, how amazing, just absolutely fantastic. And what a terrific initiative, all about peer support, bringing people together, building those networks that, you know, really change how we feel about living with type 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great because this is the first time that Diabetes UK are doing a youth project, and it's great to see, because Scotland's had one for years, so it's nice to see the rest of the UK jumping on board, because peer support is so important.
And I really love the idea that, you know, Diabetes UK is working so closely with community, being driven by people with diabetes to get this right and bring people together.
Yeah, because the project looks so differently in every area of the country, which is lovely.
Amazing. Yeah, just absolutely amazing. Look, you know, I keep saying by the community, for the community. I really cannot stress enough how it is, you know, how we know that it's those programs where people with diabetes are integral. Our voices are centered, we're the ones you keep hearing from. That it makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, amazing. And a lovely comment there from Bruno. Congrats, Alyssa, for doing this beautiful work. Absolutely. Alyssa, thank you so much. And lots of wonderful comments. Go and read all the comments. They're all fantastic. So
thank you so much, Renza.
All right. Yes, Caro, you are right. Peer support is a game changer. You know what? It's kind of the foundation a lot of what DDoC does. It really is. It's bringing people with diabetes together, offering platforms that perhaps may not otherwise have been there. You know, it's just it is life-changing and life-saving for people living with diabetes. Okay, time to wrap up. I wish I could just say that's it, bye, but we can't do that because there's so much more that we want to mention. As we started off tonight, this is all about Spare a Rose, because Spare a Rose centres around Valentine's Day. It will continue throughout the month, however, but if you are able to make a donation, sparearose.org is where you need to go. It is a community initiative. It was created by people with diabetes. It is for people with diabetes, and every single penny that is raised goes to Insulin for Life to support people with diabetes in under-resourced countries. It's a way to give to the community and to support our diabetes brothers and sisters who need that support. I'd also like to, I feel like I'm about to give you all a bit of homework of things to do. Please go and read the consensus statement. It is such an important statement about insulin access, delivered and developed by a group of very dynamic people with diabetes, DDoC voices, who I know will be at any opportunity talking about this. I'm hearing that there are T-shirts. I'm hearing that there are all sorts of ways that this is going to get out in coming weeks and months. This isn't just a one-off thing. So please go and read it, share it, sign it, and just remember that, you know, this is how things work. It's when networks come together. I know Bastian shared a couple of other statements that have recently been launched. There's one from JDRF. There's one from Life for a Child as well. Please go and find them. There are comments in the Facebook page here where you'll be able to go back to, and actually they're back up there on the screen again. There's the Life for a Child one, and there's a JDRF one as well. Also, make sure you go and check out all of the other initiatives from the people who spoke today, and reach out to anybody who was calling out for help as well for their upcoming projects. We've got a couple of other slides now that I think we're going to show, because DDoC does not sleep. Here we go. We've got a couple of save the dates. So we've got DDoC Voices scholarships. You can still apply. If you're in the UK, please apply for the first ever DDoC scholarships, DDoC Voices scholarship program at the Diabetes UK Professional Conference in London. The applications are open until the 18th of Feb. You don't want to miss that. Of course, on the 1st of June, we will have applications open for EASD 2024, for ISPAD 2024 as well. So keep an eye out on all DDoC channels to see when they are. And a couple of other dates to say: the DDoC Symposium at ATTD, which is coming up very, very soon. Do watch live, or make sure that you watch it back after that. And there's also a DDoC Symposium at Diabetes UK at the professional conference there as well. So just amazing. Really, DDoC doesn't sleep. You know, you get to see me because I pop up, sometimes muted, usually half asleep. But can I tell you that the reason that I get to do this and actually it not collapse in a screaming heap is because of what's going on behind the scenes. Morgan, Natalie, you're not up here with me on screen, but seriously, you're right here in my heart. Happy Valentine's Day, you beautiful, beautiful women. Thank you so, so much for bringing this all together in the most remarkable way. That video that you saw earlier today, and Lucia and the team sharing videos and bringing it all together, and making sure that people were holding cameras in the right direction and saying the right words and everything, was a mammoth undertaking. Morgan then put all the clips together. I don't know when she did that. She's just incredible. Natalie has been liaising with people left, right and center to make this happen. Thank you so much, team. Thank you. Please do donate to Spare a Rose if you can. Please share it with your networks. That is how this gets out there, is that we share it widely with our networks. Thank you so much to everybody. I think that I have said everything that I need to. I might go and have a little nap, but I do want to read all of these comments, so I'm going to do that first. But thank you very, very much. Our community is stronger when we come together. This is an opportunity for us to come together. This is a platform for people from the community to be able to speak. That's what DDoC does. That's what we do so well. And we are so grateful for your support. We're so grateful for each and every single one of you who is part of our network, who supports our network by watching these initiatives, by commenting, by sharing, all of these sorts of things. It's how we are stronger. So thank you very, very much. And that's all from me. Good night, everybody.